Hello, friends. This is Uiyeon Kim, pastor of discipleship at Mars Park United Methodist Church. It's so wonderful to be in community with you, even in this virtual space. Though I cannot be with you physically, our prayers, our hearts are with you always. I wanted to spend a little bit of time in this devotion speaking to hope. What does it mean for us to possess hope? I've been in conversation with so many different people from all different walks of life in the last 3 months or so now, since COVID-19 began in our community. And as it's progressed more and more, I hear people asking about hope, desiring hope. Where is hope? Many of us continue to ask, particularly for those of us who are so adversely affected, whether it be our business, whether it be our inability to see our family and friends. And the good news, friends, is we worship the God of love, God of peace, and God of hope. There are so many different biblical passages that I can point to. The passage I wanted to share, just a quick verse from Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. It reads, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful." You can go to Colossians, Galatians, Ephesians, all different parts of New and Old Testament, and you will discover words of hope from our God. People are hungry for hope. We are hungry for assurance, comfort, and peace in these times. And I love how in Hebrew chapter 10, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. I love how it's plural. It's we, let us hold to the hope we profess. That it's not just I, but when it comes to hope, it is a community endeavor and a promise. So for me, this provides tremendous amount of comfort because there are times where I find myself to be without hope, that I alone, when I am in the darkness, when I am in pain, I have a hard time holding on to hope on my own. But here's the great news. I need not be, you need not be the sole curator of my hope or the hope of any particular community, because hope here we find is communal, which means even when I find myself to feel hopeless, I can rely on other brothers and sisters in God's community, in the church, to be the light of hope for me when I myself do not feel that hope to be present in my life. So because God grants hope to God's people and not just one individual, when I am low, I can lean on you. When you are low, you can lean on me. And that kind of reminds me, just the top of my head, of that wonderful famous song, "Lean on Me When You're Not Strong." And that's so true, especially when it comes to hope. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, this is an author that Dr. Howe actually introduced me to many, many years ago. He writes this. He writes, "Confidence, by the way, is Latin for having faith together." And he goes on to write further, "I prefer the word hope to optimism," Jonathan Sacks writes. "Optimism," he writes, "is the belief that things will get better. Hope is a belief that together we can make things better." For me, to be Christians means to be nothing less than an agent of hope. You and I were called, regardless of where we are in life, what we may or may not be doing, we're all called to be agents of hope onto the world. And Christian discipleship cannot be confined to well wishes and positive thinking and hands-off trust of the future, but instead, Christian discipleship involves following, participating, and obeying the words of Jesus and the ways of Jesus. And in doing so, we become agents of God's hope for all of God's people. So peace and grace to you, friends. May you rediscover and live into God's hope for you. And when I say you, that's also the plural you, for y'all, that God has given us hope as a community together. I miss you, we miss you, and we long for the day when we can physically gather again. But in the meantime, I'm grateful that we can be together in this virtual space. God is a God who transcends all space and time. God's presence is abundantly present and real in this space as it would be in physical space. So may the peace and grace of Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen.